Hello and welcome to the Opinions and Beer Podcast. I'm your host, Statum. Today we have a special day. Today is the very first ever pop-up interview episode. That's right! You may be thinking to yourself, Adam, what is a pop-up interview? Think of it as a pop-up ad without the clicking away. You're not going to click away from this. Usually in an interview, I'm trying to sell the interview. In these interviews, I'm letting the interviewee sell themselves. This is going to be designed for self-advertisement, engage with people from all around the world who are in that independent scene, independent mindset, whether it be making films, creating props, art, photography, modeling, whatever it is you do, we want you on here for a pop-up interview. Today we have two pop-up interviews. One with Michelle and Shari Harding is a mother and daughter filmmaking duo from South Carolina. And then on the other side of the map, we have experienced prop maker straight from the heart of Sweden, Gustav, straight from the heart of Sweden, Gustav Ljungdahl. I'm sure he'll correct me, and I'm sure I will never get that last name fully correct. I'm sorry, Gustav. But moving right along here, we got the beer of the day. And today's beer of the day is Karbach Brewing's Chocolate Stout. Now, I'm going to say right now, straight from the aesthetics of the can, this is a Willy Wonka beer. I mean, there's a Willy Wonka hat. It has Willy Wonka, your golden ticket, all over it. They have a little fun little jingle that they've made based off Willy Wonka. It goes like this. Open me and you'll see a brew that came from our imagination. Let it pour, watch it swirl. The chocolate notes release with carbonation. Take a sip and you'll agree that this will become your new infatuation. Get it quick, the clock does tick, and this stout will only be here for the season. If you enjoyed that. Now this beer is 5.5% alcohol by volume, has an IBU of 25. I'm eager to try this one. I love me a stout, especially recently. So let me go ahead and try this beer. I think the first thing I taste is that pale chocolate malt. The aftertaste, getting kind of an oat taste. Very interesting. This is good. This is good beer. And you know what? I'm sick of having good beer. I would like a bad beer once in a while to have a fun hate review. But I'm just, when I go to the store and I'm picking out beer, I try to not get garbage. And I'm glad that I've been making decent picks. I don't know. I used to not really care for stouts. I don't know if my palate is changing or if just the beer is getting better. If people are getting better at stouts. I don't know. Just my eyes are opened. My eyes are opening to the varieties of beer thanks to this show, which I've done a beer show previous to this called The Beer Guys. But at the time, I guess I think my palate from that show to this show has definitely gotten better, and I'm able to enjoy a lot more variety of beers than I was in the past. I mean, this is a good chocolate beer. Karbach. This is a good brew. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Stout. I'm going to give this an 8. I want to say it's too smooth, but maybe I can't explain it. I can't explain the dissatisfactory of after the sip. It just doesn't last long. So I'm giving this an 8. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to switch over to the Skype call. My co-host, Keenan, is on there right now with Shari and Michelle. So let me Skype on over. In 3, 2, 1, now.
Oh man, you just never recorded. Those are my best jokes. I don't have any more for the show.
Come on. Hello, yeah, so here we are. We are talking right now with Shari and Michelle Harding. Tell us about yourselves.
Yeah, so Michelle.
And I'm Shari.
Hello.
Hello.
And I personally have been making films for about 6 or 7 years now. And recently, my mom and I, Shari and
That's Shari.
We incorporated a LLC called Mesh Films, and we founded this film company together, and began our first film venture together called The Farmhand, and that kind of came about last year, and it took about 1.5 years, like 1.5 years to come to fruition. My mom wrote it,
Yes.
and I co-directed it with her. And then I was the director.
Cinematographer and director.
Yeah, the director of photography on it as well. So it was basically just like this whole mother-daughter venture that we just started. And on the film itself, we had 4 mother-daughter duos.
Yeah, there was a lot of mother and daughter power in our set.
And you said the
this.
name of the film is Farmhand?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And what is it? It's a drama?
Yeah, so
It's a period piece. It was.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it takes place in 1927 during Prohibition in the South. We are from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We filmed this in Newberry, South Carolina, on an actual working farm. So the farmhand is very authentic. And we took, I guess, a couple months before we finished, but it took me about a year to write the script. And we got a lot of wonderful, talented actors together and an amazing, dedicated crew. And we're releasing the film. We've submitted to some festivals already, but we're releasing it to the public.
it's not going to be online, but we're going to premiere it hopefully next month, and we'll run the film festival circuit, and then eventually be online.
Yeah.
Where at online?
Eventually we'll just post it to
Vimeo.
standard like Vimeo, YouTube type deal. But that's after it's festival.
You're not going to put it on Amazon?
So that is a goal.
That's one of my goals. When I was writing it, I imagined it. Yes.
What's stopping you?
Mainly just I don't actually know. It's mainly just
I have to learn a little bit more
learning about
process.
it. The process.
Would you maybe we can talk about it off air, but I do have a film on Amazon Prime. I do have that that way to put films on Amazon Prime if you ever need
Yeah, he can
help with the distribution.
tell you about the steps it takes.
Oh, wow.
And
But that's just that. But I do have a silly film. I helped an author make a film. It was a strenuous process, but it did end up on on Amazon Prime. It's called Second Chance by Betrayal. But
I have to see
There's a
it.
little plug there for you.
I know, just a little background. I'm just saying, it's really. I'm sure you guys did twice as good as I'll ever do.
Oh yeah, they went to like a local park and filmed there, and
So I spent like hours of my life or days of my life trying to figure out how to get it on Amazon Prime, and it took me ages to get that stuff in order. So
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like because we still have to run the film festival circuit, so it was
I want to see how it does.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
think it'll
not
fare well. But
It's not even necessarily that. It's more like, well, we have to raise money because of course, as you know, like it's thousands of dollars. It can be just to submit to festivals and try to get the scene, and that's not even guaranteed, of course, that you'll get in.
Yeah.
So usually, what I do, it's funny. I don't fund for the actual film. I'll fund to get it seen. So I successfully ran 2 other Indiegogo campaigns for 2 of my previous films.
Look,
and
we're
now-
gonna save up for the money to get it seen, and then just hope we have a budget to make a movie to be seen afterwards.
Exactly.
Exactly.
so have you guys already been accepted into some film festivals?
No, we actually, well, for my previous films, yes. Two of my previous films, Among the Stars and Spark, ran the festival circuit and did fairly well. But for this film, The Farmhands, that we did together, we just submitted this past week. So we won't hear back. Yeah. We just finished.
So
and the film
could
is
you
42 minutes, so
give us a
it's-
short synopsis on what The Farmhand is about?
Yeah, so like we said, it's a period piece. It takes place in 1927, and it's about this mercenary named Grayson Livingston, and he was hired by a kingpin bootlegger to take out a small town sheriff who was making these whiskey and transactions.
Yeah, basically,
through his county.
The hitman made a very big mistake when he was hired to kill a sheriff. He accidentally killed someone else, and the whole story spirals out of control where the sheriff goes after the.
Man, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a thriller adventure kind of thing. And
Yeah, I can't speak for Adam, but that is right up my alley.
Oh, yeah,
That's up there with
I love that
laws.
era. I love the 20s. I love Prohibition, and it's not the typical
yeah.
20s film. It's not like Tommy guns and cool cars and fedora hats. It's not really like that. It's just a place on a farm where they were making the whiskey. And back in those days, they weren't able. You were allowed to drink the whiskey and all that, but you couldn't sell it or transport it.
But
And,
they were
that's
doing it
crooked.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was crooked back in those days, and they didn't have ways of getting it around, so they were just packing it up and selling it. And just a rival bootlegger from what the sheriff was working. The sheriff was working for a bootlegger too.
Yeah.
And he was just letting the people that were going through his town, letting him go by, and the other bootleggers were going through his town, and he was roughing them up, and it was making it difficult for this other kingpin, and he just hired somebody to kill him, and it was a foiled attempt. And after that, everything just went crazy, and
That's where the story picks up.
the story picks up. The guy that was hired to kill the sheriff hides out on a farm, and he gets a job there, and he is under an alias, and from there, that's where the story takes off.
It sounds really
cool.
intricate.
Is this a short film or is it a full length?
Well, it's kind of in between. It's 42 minutes, so
Yeah, it's 42 minutes
It's
long.
awkward.
It's kind of in the middle.
It's a
long
full-length short film. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
exactly. It's a feature short.
Feature short. Some festivals consider it a short film, but most consider it a feature, I think, at this point.
No, actually, it was the opposite. Most,
The other way
right
around.
on that border.
Yeah.
45 minutes was the border for most of what we've
If
seen.
I watched something that was 45 minutes long, I'd be like, yeah, I just watched the short
What
film.
was the
Yeah.
what was some of the more difficult tasks when filming?
Well, we've decided
filming
because
on a
we are.
pasture.
Well, I was about to just because we are so brilliant, we just decided to film in the
summer.
South Carolina heat.
Oh yeah, well you got to be
God.
authentic. Well, let me ask you this: does the movie take place in the summer?
Yeah, like
On a working farm with
Yeah, but you can't be. It's got to be authentic.
No,
you got to
no.
be pouring sweat and
Think
shit.
about working in some humid weather.
Yeah, screw y'all. Y'all got dry heat.
it was.
Oh, I don't know. I was just joking. Calm down.
No,
I
it was,
remember
it was
my life having that much heat.
It was the most humid and disgusting conditions that I
Yes,
could
it was
probably
so
imagine.
hot.
The farm itself was gorgeous and it's well kept and it's amazing,
the
but
farm
it's
is
just being
beautiful.
outside during hurricane season in South Carolina.
Oh man.
Even
yeah,
though,
like dude, we're from Texas. We know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, you
Oh, yeah.
understand, yeah. So
I spent a
and-
summer in Houston. So.
Yeah, and so we had 2 hurricanes hit during the duration of filming, which did delay us twice, but we ended up pushing through that, and it was mainly, honestly, it was a lot of weather things, and then of course, because it was a period piece, we tried to be as authentic as possible on a no-budget, self-funded film, so finding things that were authentic while still trying to be frugal was very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in the past, making movies with my friend Adam, like I practically won't even let him touch period dramas or anything like.
Yeah.
Like, if I was like, man, I got a great period drama written down, let's do it. I'm like, no, man, we do not have the budget.
That was me.
Yeah, that was her.
Like I can't even begin to afford those costumes, and neither can you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and I'm not making them.
$85 on a pair of pants.
Just one pair of pants for my lead character. I needed
One
to get
pair.
Well, if you're creative people, like, and like maybe if you can make the costumes, then that's great. But like, I'm not. I don't know about Adam, but like, I'm not about to make those costumes, nor am I going to purchase them. So we're gonna do a movie that takes place in 2018, okay, Adam? No.
Right. That's exactly how I was. It's funny because when she first wrote it, it actually came, which it sounds so silly, came to her in a dream. Like she actually
it's so
dreamt
cliche,
the
but
story.
I did dream about these people.
She actually dreamt the story, and so I was like, just write it down.
Dude.
Just write it down as you dreamt it. Like literally write it down as
And
you
I
dreamt
never even
it.
wrote a screenplay. I just had this dream. And
Yeah.
she came in my room one morning and I said, oh my gosh, I had this really weird dream about this murder. And it was really dark. And I don't, not me. I'm not even from South Carolina. And
Yeah, we're from Jersey.
and this is from a man's point of view. And it's just a really bizarre story. And, when I started telling some of the actors that I had in mind to play the parts, they were really interested in the story too. And they kind of collaborated with me throughout. And, I like the sheriff. I actually wrote the part of the sheriff for him because he
so
was
some
just
of the parts were
perfect
written
it.
for those characters. Like the people
Yeah.
who portrayed the characters, the roles were written for some of them.
And I think when
And
you're
that
writing a
always works out.
screenplay, it's really cool to have the actor that you have in mind, like the person that you know can play that part. It kind of works well because they kind of make that character their own.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They really brought life to them. And you can really see it on screen. You can really feel for them. There's a lot of emotion. It's very gut-wrenching what happens, and it's a lot of emotion, and it's very sad. It's a tearjerker, I have to say.
Well, whenever you told me that your whole idea for this film came from a dream, my first thought was like, man, you were so lucky that you woke up and remembered it all. You know, like I swear to God, I remember.
It just the way it happened was Michelle just happened to be. I guess you were leaving for work.
We're in the dream. Like I've had dreams like this. In the dream, was it so like watching a movie? Like
Yes.
like the credits roll at the end of your dream and shit.
I actually, truthfully, I did feel as though I wasn't myself. I was kind of there watching people.
Yeah,
I
like-
was watching, people.
I've had dreams like that, so much so that I swear in my dreams, like I've watched the whole storyline unfold, and then like watched credits at the end, and then woke up like I don't know, like it's just like, and woke up remembering nothing. Like oh my God, that was such a good movie that I just dreamed. That's all I remember is that it was good. I don't remember anything else.
Yeah.
Speaking back on just hurricane season, man.
Yeah.
About 2 projects ago, I put nearly everything, every resource I could possibly fathom into a project. We were filming inside like art museums and like special hotels.
He had
all kinds of stuff. I had all kinds.
He had live submachine guns that shot blanks.
Wow.
We had a comedian that he's a local comedian, but he's still sort of out there, comedian in our film. And then the hurricane came and it just destroyed all of my props and all of the stuff. And it was just like Hurricane Harvey just completely ruined that. And that's kind of why I ended up having to kind of subcontract my abilities, even though they were low abilities,
To second chance.
to the author. That's where I ended up doing the second chance by betrayal because of the downfall of what was a really fun project. But I just think it's so cool that you guys were able to overcome the hurricanes and kept filming and are able to distribute it. And hopefully, did those pauses in times have any big consequences to your film? Did it affect it in any way? Are there some scenes that kind of age poorly due to the time in between, or was it a smoother transition than what I'm making it out to be?
Yeah, so we are so lucky that because we're in the South, we really were on our last leg and our last chance of being able to film with it still looking the same as what we did in the summer. Because we started filming July 7th was our first straggler film day. Then we started principal photography in August of 2018. And then we got delayed on our last week and our third weekend of filming. We were delayed because it was too cloudy and we're like, the weather's not right, so we'll just hold it off. And then we put it off till September 15th, which is when Hurricane Florence hit. And so we had to delay it again till October. And that was our last chance before the leaves started changing and before it started looking way less green.
Oh man, and that would have ruined everything for the film.
We would have had to wait another year.
We really were just like, okay, if the weather's not good, then we have to wait till next year, and that was an option.
The weather was
See,
good.
dude, that's good filmmaking. We might have been like, fuck it, our film's just gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
Then there's gonna be some tan and red leaves and this random scene.
Yeah. And we only had 3 scenes left to film, and it was really important scenes too. And we're just like, man, if we were pushed back any further, it got so cold the following.
And not even that, we had less daylight. I mean, October and August have different daylight. And, we were really
racing. Yeah.
It sounds like y'all did a very good job.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it definitely, like, we were just so lucky when it came to the weather and just the timing of it all, and it just totally came together. Of course, if I had the opportunity, like, of course, me as, like, the DP, I'm just like, the cloud coverage wasn't perfect, you know, like that type of deal. I'm just like,
all that stuff, man. I swear to God, as soon as you start thinking, well, whatever, we ain't got the perfect clouding, let's still film this scene. That's when you're compromising in quality, and you don't have the 100% movie that you were thinking of because you made compromises. So It's so good that you, like, y'all didn't make one compromise. Y'all stuck to y'all's guns. And like I was saying, it's just the second you start compromising is the second you start compromising the quality of the film.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I didn't, like, we waited around more for, like, lawnmowers and planes and the clouds more than anything else.
The quote of our film for that last weekend was, hold for sound.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, it was ridiculous. Like, of course, everyone knows, like, once you hit record, every train, literally, because there was a train.
Yeah,
there was a freight train.
There was a freight train that,
hours of silence. We hit record, and like a plane goes over or something.
Or no, we were on just a dirt road that no one ever drives down. We hit record, and
I remember that.
Every 5 minutes, a truck's coming down the road.
Yeah, like no one's been down there in years, but we start recording down there, and like, oh man, I ain't seen my uncle in ages. You know, I'm gonna go see him.
You said you've done some previous films. Are any of those available to be seen anywhere, or?
Yeah, so they're actually both available on my Film Freeway. I have those 2 public. And one of them is, well, actually, I mean, there's a lot of work that I've done on other people's projects that weren't my own that's also available.
The 2 films that are yours.
But the 2 films that are mine are both available on Film Freeway.
The first one is
Spark and Among the Stars, yeah.
And Among the Stars, which was filmed in South Carolina. Spark was filmed in New Jersey, where we're originally from, central New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling through Texas, it's 9 hours drive anywhere you go. So.
Yeah. I'd like to see the other side of Texas, but I don't have 9 hours.
But in comparison to your previous projects, how would those previous ones differ from your most recent one?
They are, they're all dramas.
Yeah, they are dramas.
But this one, honestly, it's another level from anything I've ever done because I do produce my own projects. And these are all passion projects, but I do work on other sets as well. And I mean, I've never done anything like this, especially from the period piece aspect. And
I wrote it, so it's a different thing because it's her mom.
Mother and daughter.
It's mother and daughter, and it's
so
very
special.
passionate. And we work together. Like she lives with me still, so we spent a lot of time together working on this.
And it was also just like the fact that just like not even the film itself, but our cast and crew were so dedicated.
I can't express how amazing they were.
Grateful we are for them because they're just incredible people.
Like the crew, as an example, when we were saying we were filming on a cow pasture, in very rough terrain. It was like just uneven, and in the heat, we had some of the crew just holding umbrellas so that Michelle had shade over her head, and they would follow her around with an umbrella so that she could from the sun. People following us around with chairs so we could sit down.
I'm like, why do I deserve you? Like, you're just amazing.
Like me and Adam didn't have none of that. Like Adam tried to get me to follow him around with a chair. I wouldn't do it.
Everybody that was with us on this wanted it to be the best that it could be, and we actually screened it for most of the crew.
Just as like a we wanted like a special mother-daughter.
We had a little special sort of preview here at my house.
Yeah.
We like to have them together. Yeah, we just wanted to have a private thing. And they were very surprised. They were just very surprised at how it turned out. They were very happy and they were clapping, and that meant the world to me.
Now, when you guys watch it, is there anything that you see personally that maybe you'd want to tweak? That's like, okay, I have to leave it in now, or they didn't see it, it's good now, because I constantly,
it's a done project.
I always have that issue where I watch it like, oh no, I hated that, but no one ever even noticed.
There's a lot of that.
Well, it's funny because like the most satisfying and the hardest thing to do as a cinematographer and DP is to make something come to life that was in your head, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Yes.
So
and that goes back to like we were talking about earlier, like without compromising.
Without compromising.
And I
actually achieved that for some of the film. Like I got my dream shot. Mm-hmm. I got like a dream scene that I always wanted, like light down to everything. It was perfect that I would never change, and it was just so amazing, and I'm so proud of it. But then there's a lot that I definitely I'm sure that there's also story stuff. At face value, the film is just so incredible. But as a DP. There were certain conditions and certain circumstances that made me compromise that I wish that I didn't have to compromise on. But, it's so incredible. It's easily the best film I've ever made to date. And
I'm very proud of it.
I'm proud regardless.
And as far as me being the writer, it does look like what I imagined for the most part. What makes me even happier is that the characters came to life in a way that I didn't even see myself. I think that the actors really felt the character in their heart, and they just kind of made it their own. And I think it was even better than what I ever wrote on my computer. I look at the words, and when I saw it in front of me, I just was overwhelmed, and I still am. I still continue to be overwhelmed. And I'll never forget this. It inspires me to write more, and I'd like to do that. So I think I'd like to get a shorter film out there.
Yeah.
But
shouldn't y'all be going for longer films?
Well, I mean, I definitely. It's funny because this story because she has backstories for each of the characters where you can have like a prelude and you can have
every character has a lot of depth to them, and it's nothing like what's on screen. I mean, there's so much that
she could add to make it a feature.
I like that, man. I'm totally gonna. I can't wait to watch y'all's. They
actually wanted to continue with it. They were telling me. Because they were enjoying it, and they either wanted a sequel or maybe a prequel, and I was like, well, I could write
this
it.
This is a great film as a proof of concept for something bigger. If we wanted to turn into a feature, like an actual full feature,
we need money. We need a car.
What's funny is this kind of branching off subject, but it's like today's industry is like inspiring you to just go deep into the story, all up in the middle, so that you can have room for a prequel. That's where the money is. No, don't start at the beginning. You do that later.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So a lot of some of the bigger questions that upcoming filmmakers have and things of that sort is the equipment, the cameras, and what problems you had, how'd you solve them. So what kind of equipment did you use, and did it work to your benefit? Have you changed throughout your course of being a cinematographer, and what do you prefer? And if any problems did arise, what solutions did you? How did you get through it?
Yeah, so it's funny. I've actually used the same camera for the last 6 years. I haven't changed. It's my Panasonic AF100, and it is my baby. At the time that it was made, it was revolutionary. It was an amazing camera. It's actually discontinued, and that's how you know it's time for an upgrade. But
they refuse to sell it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's still my baby. I still film on it. I still make all my films on it. And it's funny because actually in Spark, when I used that camera, what happened was I had my dual-edged slider, and the slider head, the rubbering on the wheel of the slider head slipped off. It broke. There was a malfunction, and my camera just I actually was caught on camera. My camera landed lens first into the concreted rock carpet, and very luckily, all that was broken was a lens hood, but we still had like half the production, the film, and I had a broken slider head, and luckily the camera and the lens was fully fine.
You
so
sent out a PA to go get glue.
Yeah, so we sent out a PA to go get Gorilla Glue, and
She
we
got
just
glue and they glued together.
jerry rigged the slider so we can finish the production.
You gotta do. You gotta, it must go on. So continue the delay.
So I guess, Shari and Michelle, y'all were great to have on. I got one more final question, and so when exactly do you have a ETA on when your when the farmhand will be available online, or when people
To the public?
to the public to say
Yeah. So the film is completed. We are planning to have a premiere February 2nd in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That is not confirmed yet. But otherwise, it will be running the festival circuit, and hopefully you'll see it around the country, depending on which festivals it does get into. And we expect an online release in 2020.
2020.
Yeah, it's next year, but
Man, like
I cannot wait.
I'll honestly tell you, I've never
we
found
would love to
myself
share it with you.
anticipating to watch independent film, but here I am now. I can't wait till 2020 to see y'all's film.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll definitely
So-
think of you.
Thank you for being on. That was Shari and Michelle Harding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Does it not say bye to people?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have a place in the show, and it's not an actual phone call. But he's still like, all right, man, well, that was our show, and bye. And then he's like,
I'm sorry.
Oh, look, they agree. They're still here waiting on a bye.
I'm sorry, guys. All right. Thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it.
Man, it's great talking to you.
Yeah,
Why does it sound so negative? Isn't
All right, well, bye, click. We don't know how we depart from y'all politely.
Yeah. I'd love to send you guys the film if you guys wanted to check
we'd
it out.
like you to.
Oh, yeah, please do.
We're gonna send it to you.
All right.
All right, well, we'll talk to y'all in the future.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night.
You
All right,
too.
good night. Bye.
Bye.
And that's how. Look, they even waited for a bye because Lauren's right now.
Yeah, that was a fun interview. I really liked that interview. Now let's go ahead. We're going to swiftly move along here because we have Gustav waiting on the other line. Keenan is, I believe, with him now. Let's go ahead and switch over now.
My video, by the way.
All right, so this is a mic test. We're doing a mic test real quick. Go ahead and say a few words for our mic test.
Hi, I'm a person from Earth. This giant moose head I have in the background will not be in this thing.
It will not be in this thing, the giant moose head.
That is
Yes.
tragic, though. That is very tragic.
Yes.
Now we are here today with Gustav. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Well, what's your last name?
Try pronouncing it.
Try
People
pronouncing
funny.
it. Oh, Ljungdahl.
Lundell?
Now we work with that.
I feel like 90% of those letters are silent.
No, but the L and the H are.
Now, what
I
we're doing-
don't understand why you should even have silent letters. It sounds like
I believe the French created silent letters. Right?
yeah, I think it's a French thing.
Yeah, but the French can like remove a third of all the letters to make a better director's cut of the language. To make it more efficient to understand.
Gustav, I believe you said that you make, was that mech suits? And we actually have pictures. I'm going to show these pictures. People will be able to see them.
Yes, I'm making mech suits.
Oh man, that's really awesome.
Yeah, we got here. He sent us these pictures. I believe it's on his Facebook.
Yes.
What got you into this?
Well, it started with basically when I was 8 years old. I saw the alien monster and asked my mom, "What's that?" And my mom, she asked her friend, who is extremely nerdy, to show me H.R. Geiger's art, and then I got a book with his art, and then I decided I want to make monsters in movie when I grow up.
Oh man, that is cool.
You make some. These are badass. It's like badass cosplay too. You're really.
I think it's the Doom guy.
It is Doom.
Yeah, the helmet's different.
Let's see. You said that you are working on. Well, let's see. You've made 6 movies.
Yes, I think I had to count. Yeah, but I think it's like 6 that I have done by myself, and I helped out on a bunch of others.
So what goes into making these? Can you tell me a little bit about them?
My movies.
Yes.
Yes, basically it's that I want to make a certain type of movie, and nobody is making them, so I do it myself.
that works.
Yeah, that's hands-on.
Yeah, there was a very big shortage of monster movies here in Sweden, so let's make them.
Yeah.
Sweden.
Yes, it is a country of absurdities. I'm aware of that.
Is it? Is it though? You know, a lot of people in America they use Sweden religiously. Now, our show. You know, we never even told you what show we're on because we're still kind of green. We're still pretty bad at interviews. But our show's called Opinions and Beer, and we basically sit around and we drink beer and we talk about movie opinions, political opinions, art opinions, gardening opinions.
Just recent news.
Recent
opinions on opinions.
And the recent discoveries and new technologies regarding paperweights.
Yeah,
exactly, of course.
Paperweights are still a relevant thing.
What?
Yes.
No, they're not.
I want to visit that museum.
You apparently haven't purchased a smart.
What if you have like a? It would be cool to have like a gravity paperweight.
No, you get the smart paperweight with Bluetooth.
Something that you can't even touch.
No, man.
It hovers above you.
Dude, my paperweight connects to my phone. All right. It connects to my toaster.
It connects to my toaster.
Let's kickstart that shit immediately.
Exactly. So, what's one of your more popular films you've done? That got.
Yes, well, I must definitely say that this is my movie Root to Darkness, due to it actually had an American release.
Oh, really?
Which is, yes, it was released on SRS Cinema.
That's really cool. What's that about?
Yes. Well, it was, as all of my movies, it started with a joke. Basically, like, me and my friend who makes these movies dicked around and basically, like, what if Ingmar Bergman, like, made a horror movie like Evil Dead? Just, you know, as a joke. And then that joke basically took its own life. And then we did it.
Yeah.
So it is in Swedish, and we have written it because if you watch Ingmar Bergman's movies and you're not from Sweden, you don't understand how absurd the dialogue are. It's so incredibly old-fashioned Swedish. Like, even for its when they were released, the language was still like incredibly old.
So, do you have any of your suits in this one? Like, what's your?
Well, I wrote the script, made all the sets, built all the monsters and
nice.
the suits and stuff like that. So I made it in my backyard, the whole movie basically.
Oh, that's cool. That's
yeah, but
it works though.
If you live on a farm, you can build sets in your big backyard without anyone saying anything. If you live in a city and making a movie, you will run into other problems that other people are very much nearby.
Yeah.
But here, it's basically no one around, so you have a lot of liberties to do things like that.
What is the cinema lifestyle like in Sweden? What movies you getting?
We usually have our Oscars awards, which is called the Golden Bug, which you get a gold bug. Yeah. Anyway, and it isn't weirder than giving a golden man to someone. But anyway,
I get you're not wrong, you know.
it is a bug that is golden that you get for being.
Bug or man, it's gold.
You don't know if it's real gold.
Alright, well.
Anyway, and
it should be. It's gold.
Yeah.
Sure.
so we usually have a little game every year in Sweden where it's like, which movies have you heard about that got an award? Because you probably not heard about them.
Oh yeah.
But so most of the movies that are like Swedish productions that are getting big is usually based on books, and then sometimes they branch out, like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books.
Oh yeah.
Get American adaptations, and also.
Do you guys have Swedish adaptations?
No, not movies.
I mean, Russia did do the Russian Avengers.
They did?
Well, kind of. They had a bear, giant bear.
Called Guardians.
Guardians?
Yeah, Russian.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what
You didn't see
did
the
there.
trailer for that?
Yeah, I didn't know you were...
It looks like the
going-
Russian Avengers. You don't think so?
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to see it, but the problem is to find a version with English subtitles.
Oh yeah.
I found them in German, but they're not very good in German. I can basically say, Ich habe einen schnellen Krankenwagen, which
Yeah.
means I have a fast ambulance, which is a very situational line to know.
You're just saying with a lot of... it sounds like you're just giving a Hitler speech.
Yes.
But, of course,
Hitler
you can make
was from
anything in
Germany,
German
you know?
sound that way.
So how long does it usually take you to build one of these mech suits, or any
Well,
of your props?
Well, the mech suit I sent you a picture of, it has been added on for years, but the first one I did took 3 weeks to make.
So, took how long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yes.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And on my YouTube channel, I actually have like breakdowns on how it's constructed and how you can make one yourself.
Oh, what's your? Oh, I see your. Let me see your YouTube. What's your YouTube channel called? Let's see.
My name, Gustav Ljungdahl.
Okay, Gustav Ljungdahl.
Yes,
oh,
correct.
Man, he said his last name and I totally wasn't... I missed it.
You gotta. You have to say it with emphasis. Ljungdahl. No, I'm sorry.
Ljungdahl.
Ljungdahl.
Luke
Yes.
Dog. Is that Luke
I
Dog?
won. No, I won. You lost. You're done.
Okay.
You're.
Alright.
So, are you working on anything soon? Currently?
Yeah, it actually is something I'm working on, and it is like several steps of this, but if 2 of these steps fails, I will still make the movie. Because there was a documentary filmmaker reaching out to me and said that they want to follow me through one of these projects. Because I said, I'm gonna make this, and I do it without, trying to get money. So, because I can make it by myself quite easily. Not easily, but without having funding. So it's a bit of it's a movie that is a concept of that there are people who are in an office space doing the exact same thing over and over and over, and they start to, losing their memories and start to questioning why they do and why they're not ever going home and remembering what they eat last day and stuff like that.
That's
And then you will actually have the twist of what is causing all this.
Alzheimer's? Yeah, kind of like a twist on like an Alzheimer's film, huh?
Not really. I'm not gonna. It's still gonna have high concept stuff, and let's say monsters will be involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone, that was Gustav Ljungdahl.
Yes.
I think that's the closest he's gotten so far.
If you had the slightest bit of fun, we'll gladly bring you back for a longer show.
Yes.
It's just my phone is blowing up of people screaming at me that I don't know.
What?
Yeah, so I put myself under a bit too much pressure today.
Do you have a Galaxy S7 or something? Your phone sounds bad.
It's text screaming. But you were fun for what we had you on. You know, you're fun.
Yeah, man,
you're a funny guy.
enjoyed, interviewing you.
Gustav, go check him out on YouTube. We'll have a link below in the description, or to check him out. We'll have his name below, or we'll have his name in the title. So you just type in his name to find his stuff. Thank you for coming on.
And we're excited to have you back, man.
Absolutely. Nice.
Oh shit. Would you? What was he saying? I wonder.
He said bye.
Oh.
And well, folks, there you have it. Today we were drinking Karbach chocolate stout. We interviewed Shari and Michelle Harding and Gustav Ljungdahl, and it was a fun interviews. Those are fun. I can't wait to do more pop-up interviews. And if you don't agree, well, that's just your opinion. And that's fine. Because this is Opinions and Beer. Opinions and beer. Opinions and beer. Can't go wrong with opinions and beer. Opinions and beer. Opinions and beer. All we've got here are opinions and beer.